Can you walk us through a real example of a brand that ran into some serious issues with customs or Amazon, and what did it take to resolve it?
I have a lot of examples, unfortunately, for them. I had a customer in the United States. This is a toy. Toys are relatively easy, less regulation. It was tested and it passed. The age grade was 18 months plus, year and a half. So age grades, when I was growing, before I got into this, if you have a really smart kid, I remember parents would be proud. My kid's only 2, but he plays with toys that are 4 plus, and which is a good thing. Your kid's smart, but what you don't realize is the age affects the safety requirements. A 2-year-old will put things in their mouth without thinking about it. A 3-year-old, less likely to. If the parents are aware, watch out. So they'll keep a sort of an eye on him. In the United States, if you have a small part, which is a choking hazard, which means it would fit right down their throat, if it's for up to age 3, you can't sell it at all. It's just fail. 3 to 6, it has a small parts warning, which means the parents are gonna need to watch it. Now, that's a very straightforward one. There are other things. We do a test called use and abuse, which means normal use. If you just play with it how you're supposed to, will it break into small parts or sharp points, things like that? Let's say it falls off a high chair or falls off a table, that's abuse. It's not how you're supposed to use it, but those things happen. Let's say 2 kids are having a tug of war and pulling on it, fighting over the toy. So is it gonna break then? So that's abuse testing. So it's commonly known as use and abuse. The regulations for 12 months plus, and 18 months plus for use and abuse, or for abuse, are different. So this company had tested everything for 18 plus and it passed. Now, 18 months went by and they didn't test it. They're like, no one's asking. Never say that. This is what they said. No one's asking. So what I need to waste $500 or $700 or whatever it was on testing? It's always going to depend on where you test it and how complicated the toy is, what it really costs. But I think in his case, it was about $500 or $700. Something changed in the production. And that's why you have to test annually, because things change. They get a new supplier, or they change the manufacturing a little bit. They run it a little hotter, a little colder. It doesn't necessarily work as well. The design changes slightly, gets a little thinner, a little fatter. Suddenly, it didn't pass use and abuse, but it would have passed for 18 months plus, because the abuse is done differently. If they had just put 18 months plus, they would have been fine. Or if they had fixed the problem, they would have been fine. If they noticed the change, they could have gone back and figured out what changed in the design and the material and whatever. But that didn't happen. They saved their $500. The CPSC bought their product, probably bought 6 of them, and they ran their own tests on them and they failed. Then they wanted to recall everything they ever made before. It was a nightmare for them. They hired lawyers. There's specific consumer product safety lawyers. I can recommend one if anyone ever needs, but to fight it, as much money as they saved for not doing that $500 of testing, they probably spent 10 or 20 or 30 times as much. And then they're making different models and testing it over and over to see, is it consistently passing and what's the issue? And of course, at this point, the CPSC would not let them change the age grade. You can't just write any age grade you want. It has to be true. This is when that age would like to play with it, would enjoy the game, could understand the game. And if you thought it was 12 months plus, and now when you have trouble, you say 18 months plus, it's very unlikely you'll ever get away with that. Pre-knowledge is always helpful. Eventually they got through it, but they sweated a lot. They spent a fortune. The cold medicine guy, he ended up needing to get special kind of packaging. I recently had someone, he came to me 3 years late. He had his stuff in a government warehouse for 3 years and he could not figure out his labels. He just didn't know how to do it. I helped him. I wrote his labels for him. And then he had to get permission, and he hired special people, teams of people, to open every case and take out each box and put a label on it. And then finally they let him. He needed a little bit of testing. We were able to work with the testing with just labels, and we were able to get it out. If he had come to me 3 years earlier, it would have gone a lot faster for him. But it was from 2022 that this whole thing had happened, and we just found each other recently. But you can spend much more money than you save if you just won't if you don't do it properly from the beginning.